We came to Australia in 2018. It was myself, my husband, my two children. They were in year 5 and year 1 at the time. It was quite challenging because Luke had just started year 1 and he was only 3 months in. Ashton had already established his school career, so it was a lot less challenging for him, but yes, that's when we arrived. The main draw card for us to come to Australia was the fact that it offered better security and better safety for us, not only from a physical perspective, but also job security and the ability to provide for our family and for our kids to be able to do that with their kids and their families one day when they grow up. The most challenging thing upon arrival was the fact that you needed to achieve many milestones in a very short space of time, things like buying a car, getting your license, getting your tax number, and those things you kind of take for granted when you've achieved them over a span of several years. And you need to achieve those in a very short space of time in order to do the things that you were able to do back home. So yeah, I think that was a very challenging thing for us. And it needs to be in a sequence, you know, so you can't get a car unless you have a driver's license. You can't get a driver's license unless you have a residential address. You can't get a residential address. You can't go look at houses unless you have a car. You know, so it's really difficult. You can't get your kids into a school unless you have a home to be in a catchment. You know, so it's really not an easy task. Well, one of the most rewarding things about being in Brisbane is the fact that we have found the school that the kids have settled in quite easily. We love going into the city where it's not dangerous. It's not something you do in Johannesburg. It really to go in the evenings into town. And we found a church in Axis that we could call home in a relatively short space of time. I am a project manager and a business analyst in my career, so I like to plan things out meticulously. I like to have things work out the way I plan, and I think it's taught me to just let go a little bit because everything that's happened, good and bad, has gotten us to where we are, and in hindsight everything has worked out for the best, even though looking back it was, well, at the time it wasn't what we had hoped it would be, but it's worked out. So I've learned to trust God, and He's got this. We already call Australia home after a relatively short space of time, and we can't wait for the day we're officially citizens.